Today on Free Field Training, we are talking about what's inside a cop's ticket book. This is my ticket book binder. It's my metallic binder that's got all of my ticket books and associated paperwork inside, and we're going to talk about that today in depth. This video is being sponsored by Pocket Brain Book for Police. More about them in a little bit. They're very applicable to how you look up statutes and other important information out on the street. It's another option to be able to look things up. So without further ado, we're going to bring you guys in so you can better see what it is I'm talking about. Nobody needs to see my ugly mug to learn about tickets. So this here is my ticket book. It's a metal holder, and I'm pretty sure it's made by Posse Box. And the way these work, there's a couple different styles of them depending on the size of your tickets. These are the tickets that were issued up here in Cook County, Illinois. So this one has a Velcro closure. Some of them have a snap closure on the back. I prefer the Velcro because depending on how much stuff I have inside the book, how many pads and things I have inside, the snap sometimes won't close or it'll be too loose. So the Velcro one's a good way to go. I've had this thing for close to 14 years now, so they do last a long time, and even the Velcro, you can see I don't write a whole lot of tickets. This spends most of its time just jumbling around in my bag. So you unvelcro this, and this strap just kind of holds it all together, and then you've got a writable lid, and we'll show you how that works here in a second. Inside, we have the criminal complaint. So this is for moving violations, most often for me used on accident scenes if somebody's suspended or revoked or doesn't have insurance or something like that. This is also what speeders would be written on if I ever wrote speeders. You know, things like that. So all of your state criminal complaints, this is called a short form, and then long forms is a long 8.5 by 11 form that would be used for most other misdemeanors and felonies. But these can be used for some things like reckless driving, DUI, stuff like that. So a little bit about these forms. These are a serial numbered form. Up here you can see the serial number in the corner of this first one. And because of that, if I start writing one of these, I either have to void the ticket, which means I have to do a bunch of paperwork, or I have to cross things out and then rewrite the citation. So this isn't something that I can just tear up once I start writing it. It becomes a thing. So the first copy is the original complaint, and then after that is a report that goes to the Secretary of State's office, and then you have the defendant's copy. And then on the back of the defendant's copy is a communication copy. So the defendant's copy is linked together inside the book. You can see here, there's actually two copies in one. So I tear this out and hand it to them, and one of them is their copy, and then the other one is one that they send into the state if they get a court diversion envelope. And a court diversion envelope allows them to take care of the ticket without having to go to court in some circumstances. And then we have the police department's copy, which stays in records. And then we have the officer's copy, which has to stay in my book. And then we have something that is actually kind of archaic now because we have a separate form for this. It's the traffic stop statistical study copy. So when I write these tickets, I have to push hard enough to get through all of these layers of forms. And then this is what you're supposed to write on, so it separates the two tickets. So when I write on this ticket, it doesn't bleed through to the next ticket down in the stack, if that makes sense. So these cardboard things just kind of work. They don't really create a strong enough surface for you to write the ticket. In a pinch it'll do, but these metal form books work a lot better because they allow us to have a good solid metal platform, and I know it's not going to bleed through. So if I put this is how I would be writing a ticket. If I put this on that nice solid metal background, I can show you how hard I have to press basically in order to get all the way through. So we'll use a section of the ticket that we're not normally going to use for anything. I'll put it right up here by the Y and the H. I'm going to make a mark on this form, and that's really how hard you have to write. And you can see how that form bleeds through that mark all the way down to that green copy. You have to push very, very hard to get marks to go through all the copies of the form. So in order to fill this out, it's basically just put in the municipal district, and it reads like a story. So in the whatever municipal district, the Court of Cook County, and the name of the authority of, checkbox city, and then the city name, or the people of the state of Illinois, or the township, or the village, or the town, or whatever. And then you put their last name, first name, you fill out all the information. You get down to the section down here that has your locations and then the statute. And that's where we start having to flip around. So we get down to statute, and of course we want to write this all in order so we don't miss any boxes. Top to bottom, left to right, we talked about that on other videos. And we're going to write the statute number in there, but first we have to look that statute number up, and that's where the next lower section of the ticket book comes in. So there's a little box in the back where I can store other stuff. And in here I have a parking ticket book, which we'll look at in a second. And then I have an index. So the Secretary of State's office in Illinois puts these indexes out once a year. This is the newest one that I've gotten. I haven't seen a 2021 come around, although that doesn't mean it didn't just come out when I was on vacation. So I have the 2019 offense index code. And in here, what it does is it gives you everything that you could write or arrest someone for, at least commonly, and then a small description of what they are. So 12-601A is improper use of horn in Illinois. And then you go through and it has everything up to fraud of creditors, home invasion, stuff like that. Now, obviously, this isn't the law because it's in here and it's got a little small description next to it. Doesn't mean that that's the totality of what's written in that law. But this is a quick index. Unfortunately, it's got 50 pages. So unless you want to go digging through the whole thing, what most people do is they'll take the back of their Secretary of State book and they will make themselves a cheat sheet of common statutes that they use. And that's what I have here. So whenever somebody gets written a ticket, if it's something new, I just kind of add it on there. And this is pretty much everything that I've written a ticket for since, when did I get this book? 2013. So when I start off with these, I always do no insurance because that's always the biggest one for people. They get a crash or something, they don't have insurance. That's one that gets written quite frequently. Then no valid DL, suspended driver's license, no valid registration, operating with expired registration, registration revoked and suspended. And then you start getting into traffic control devices and stuff like that. So what I can do is, I don't have to go through the 50-page book, but I keep it all together. It's all on the same book, and I write my common statutes on there. That's one way to look up the statute that you're going to write in there. Of course, if it's something new and you don't know for sure what the statute is in the book, you don't just take the word of this thing that the little, illegal use of lighting system is the proper one. You take that statute number and you look it up in a big book, or you Google it. You go to the state of Illinois website if you're in Illinois or whatever state you're in. I'm in Illinois, so that's where I look mine up. And you look up the statute and you read the totality of the statute to make sure you're writing the proper thing. Another quick index method of looking these up, and back to that sponsor of the video today, is using Pocket Brain Book for Police. What this is an app that allows you to look up not only statutes, but also your window tint laws by state, your case law. It's got a section in here where you can look up Miranda to make sure that you're giving it to people the same way each time if you don't have a Miranda card in your pocket. They keep up on the FBI's most wanted list, and the cool, interesting thing about it is that you can look up your statutes from your city, so your local municipal ordinances, instead of having a cheat sheet, which we're going to look at here in a second. You can have your cheat sheet uploaded onto here and made a city section. So you click on your city, and you can go in and look up a particular city ordinance. So if you're going to write a handicap parking violation, you can type in handicap parking or whatever the title of the statute is, and then it comes up for your city, and you can have cities added to this little app. This is a free app. You can download it for free, use some of the options on it, see if it would be worth it to you to get the paid version, which opens up more doors and more access to more features. And then it's a very small fee to have the paid version per year. There's going to be a link down in the description if you're interested in trying it out. Go give it a look, at least the free app section. Look up the free app, see if it's something that works for you, and if it's got options for your state and municipality. I'd be willing to bet it does. If not, you can contact them. I contacted them, and I had my city added in with all of their municipal ordinances. It's actually pretty convenient. And then when I'm working a detail where I don't have my whole bag and I just have a parking ticket book in the car, because all of our cars have the parking ticket books in them, I can write a parking ticket without having to go back and get my bag or go over citywide and ask if anybody knows what the statute for handicap parking is. It's very convenient. So once we have our statute number, we plug that in this little section here, and then I tick IVC, it's the Illinois Vehicle Code, but there's going to be little boxes there for other things depending on where you work, and then you give a description, and then you look up your court information. So the court information, here's how that works. We have what's called a citing card, and it's a big graph with all of the court dates. And let's say right now it is March 23rd, and I am key of L. So I would go key of L down to March. Our next court date is the 20th, but I need to make it at least 15 days into the future so that we can get notification of the court and all of that. And there's no court date for key of L in April, so I go back down, and the court date for this ticket would be the 4th of May under key of L in Cook County. And then I have an assigned court date and time and room that I send everything to, and that would determine where it's going to be at and when, and that's how we keep track of all of that. And I always take these citing cards and I tape them to the inside of here so I know where it's at all the time. I used to tape it on the outside, on the front, and what I found was that it always got ripped off and I had to put more and more layers of tape. This way it's still pretty easy to find. I don't lose this stupid thing, and it doesn't get messed up. This has been on there since the beginning of the year, and it doesn't hardly look worn at all. Then we either give them a court diversion envelope, which I don't have a copy of here, I'm sorry, but it's nothing really special. It's just an envelope that gets sent into the courthouse where they can plead guilty or request traffic school or request a different court date. Or you click the little check mark on here where you have to appear in the room number. I put the room number and all that on there, and X must appear. And then I sign it, put my star number on there, and in Illinois, we have several bonding options. And we just went to sign and drive, where if you have a valid driver's license, you just sign here. It says, yes, I'm going to take care of this ticket, and that's it. You're done. Give them their copy and the court diversion envelope if you need to give them a court diversion envelope. And then you're like, here you go. Go talk to the judge about it or go talk to the Secretary of State about it. And then you're done. You rip out all of the sections except the back two. You sort them to the people that need them. So the white copy and this first yellow copy and the pink copy go to the station. The defendant's copy, both of them go to them. You keep the blue and the green one, and your ticket's done. And then if you have multiple tickets, you reference them to each other under other complaints issued, so that way when it goes to court, if the staples come loose and the tickets aren't together or the case file isn't right, there's a record of where all of this stuff is supposed to go, and that these are all the same file. Now when I'm done, the blue and the green copies get folded around back and clipped onto here. And I normally advance the next ticket up so that way when I have to go to write something, all I got to do is open the book up and I'm all ready to go. Now that brings us to parking tickets, the other major kind. This is a parking ticket book. Now, parking ticket books are not issued by the state, and so it doesn't really matter. If I start writing one of these and I mess up or something, it's easy. You just rip it out and throw the parking ticket away. Parking tickets work very much the same way. You fill it out, you X parking, and you put an incident number on the top, and you fill out all the vehicle information or all the person's information, the vehicle information. You put the due date in, and you put your ordinance and what the ordinance description is, you sign it, and you give them their copy, and their copy is the hard copy, and then there's a form behind it that gives them an explanation of what they're supposed to do. So you rip out the explanation, the hard copy, you stick it on the car, or you hand it to the person, and that's the end of it. Looking up the ordinance, again, what I have is I have a cheat sheet, and it's just a form that I keep in the bottom of my ticket book container. And on here is the different ordinances and the statute numbers next to them, so it's easier to look up. And then I don't need a big 3-ring binder full of all of the ordinances. Most of the ones that we're writing for are pretty simple. Because there aren't 15 or 7 or whatever number of copies of this, there's only 2 that it has to press through to. It's real simple. This little cardboard thing works fairly well. I just put it between the tickets And that's enough to keep this from bleeding through. As you can see there. And then there's your bleed through on the copy, and then that's it. And you don't have to press as hard or nearly as hard with these. So we look up our ordinance number. Again, on Pocket Brain Book, you can put your city in and send them a PDF, and they will upload the information so that you have your statute numbers and your ordinances and the description that you want in there, so you don't have to carry a separate form around, or if you lose the form, you don't look like an idiot asking other people what the statute number is. You sign it, put your star number on it, you rip the back 2 copies off. This one goes into the office to the boss, and it goes off to City Hall or Town Hall or whatever in order for it to get billed out as a civil matter. So these are parking tickets. These are civil matters between the city and the individual. And so this is something that it's not an arrest. It's not a criminal complaint. This is just parking ticket stuff. It's a civil matter where basically if people don't pay it, it ends up going either to the state to suspend their driver's license. In Illinois, it just goes to collections. Now again, I keep this closed up normally so I don't mess it up too much. In the back of my binder, so I always have one with me and I know where it's at, even though they're all over the insides of the cars, because they're not an issued serialized form. They have a serial number on them, but they're not accounted for the same way these are. I actually have to, with the criminal complaint citations, I have to sign out a book of new citations when I need them. And then I can keep that all with me, and then this goes into my duty bag. You've seen that in all my duty bag videos, and I can pull it out and be able to write a ticket quickly and efficiently and get the person off on their way or finish up the accident report or whatever. If you have any comments or questions, put them down in the description down below and I'll do my best to answer them. Again, I don't know about tickets in every other state because it's not something that I do. I only work here in Cook County, Illinois. Hey, thanks for watching Free Field Training on YouTube. While you're here, check out one of our other videos or head on over to the Patreon and see how you can get your name put on your videos like these fine folks over here. All the links are in the description, of course. We'll see you guys next time.